Hi folks. So this comic. If you read the process post I did, this was quite the challenge to draw. It was just one of those comics where nothing was working for me that day. Hence why I went for this kind of a messy look to everything with the straight to pen lines and the ink washes. I very nearly scrapped the comic and was worried that trying to add color to it would just take, and pardon my French here, would just take a pile of shit and just make it worse. It would be like polishing a turd, basically. Thankfully, everything did seem to come together, though, in the end, which I was very pleasantly surprised by. Um, the messy look to everything actually did kind of help give it a certain look. And with the color, thankfully, it meant that I actually didn't have to do all that much work with this one. Typically, when I'm coloring my work, I'll have to select different elements of the line work and expand that, and then fill those areas in with flats, and then eventually add more detail to those via like doing bits of shading and whatnot. Whereas with this, I basically just treated it like I was going straight to the page with paints or ink washes. So I didn't really, I actually didn't want to make things look overly clean. I wanted to make things look almost like it was done on paper. So I intentionally went like outside of the lines, or not quite reaching the line work itself. And it can be nice to work that way. Actually, it can be refreshing, because I tend to be the type that I'm very mechanical in how I work at times. So doing something like this can be a bit more freeing. As for my color choices, I wish I could say, there was a specific reason I went for certain colors, like, oh, the background is kind of an orangey hue for some thematic reason, but no, that's not the case. Really, when I color my work, it's just all about what looks good to me, and I will often lay down some base colors, and like over time, like over the course of like my work on the page, I will gradually change those colors until everything just looks and feels right. Now maybe that's not the proper way to work as a colorist. I mean, you often see colorists online who talk about going for a specific color palette or an atmosphere to their work, and sometimes I do that. But for pieces like this, it's just a case of laying colors down until things begin to click together. I've mentioned this in previous process posts, like my typed up process posts, but coloring for me often feels like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, where like I'm just like laying the pieces down, and I'm seeing what pieces work together and what don't. And yeah, it can be an enjoyable process, actually. There like, when you get into it, there's a certain zen-like quality to it, where time seems to just melt away. And yeah, that can be a nice feeling. And I have to say, as a complete contrast to the actual drawing process of this comic, the coloring process was both pain-free and enjoyable. And those are the moments I really enjoy, and look forward to with my comic, when I can just sit down and just lose myself in my work like that. It can be nice.